Hello, you guys. I have been so ready to talk to y'all about this Kamala interview. So let's just get right on into it.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but do you, just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point, okay? The point is that...
That is the point. You don't get to change what the point is because the question is not a question that you would want to be asked or you are unprepared to answer. That is the point. The point is, how many people have you allowed to come into this country? Because let's just keep it all the way real. There's no way you can accidentally let in 14 million people into the country. You don't do something like that on accident. So this whole idea of let's just get to the point, or, let me finish filibustering the conversation so I can just give you a non-answer like I've been doing everybody else. She doesn't want to go down that road, and she doesn't want to answer the question. But why would you not want to answer such an important question if this is a topic, like she just said, that she's so happy that was raised?
That we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions...
I'm not finished. We have an
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please? But you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up the...
The reason why, for those of you who are like, why won't you just let her talk? Because we have heard Kamala Harris over the, since August, with the few interviews and sit-downs that she has done, we have heard everything that she's going to say. She says the same things at rallies, the same things in interviews. She always gives the same canned answers, but she never is pressed on the whys. Why did your administration do this? Why did you not, quote, turn the page? As they say that they're going to do. They don't want to, what's the campaign slogan? Not going back. Okay, not going, like, these things need to be defined. These things need to be dug into, because what exactly do you mean? What do these words that you keep spouting, what do they mean? And so for him, as I think one of the few real journalists left in the mainstream media, he already knows what she's going to say. She said it. She said, you already know what I'm going to say. Yeah, we do, Camilla. We know what you're going to say. That's why he's trying to press you on getting clearer in the details of all these words that you're saying, but don't actually mean anything.
Responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General.
What the freak does that have to do with the price of cheese in China? Nobody cares about your trans international prosecution, because clearly what we see you doing today, what you have done in the last 3.5 years, it don't matter what you did as a prosecutor. And many people are saying that this whole I prosecuted the trans. The only trans that I see that Kamala is interested in is the transgenders, okay? Because there is no indication that anything that she currently says is backed up with actions. This woman is just, I've never seen someone so bold and blatant to lie to your face. Like, we ain't been here for 3.5 years watching you do literally the exact opposite of what you claim you're going to do now. Like, there is nothing in her record. There is nothing in her background. There's nothing in her current actions, her past actions. There is nothing in this woman's history or present that says she's going to do or be anybody else than what she has been since we've known about Kamala. There is nothing there. There's no reassurance. There is no fact. There's no history of her doing anything in support of keeping foreigners who are not supposed to be illegals out of this country. Where's the proof? Where is the proof that she has a modicum of anything that we can stand on to believe what she's saying? But she knows she don't have to prove herself. She knows, I'm black and a woman, and that's going to be good enough for some of you. That she got some melanin and she happens to have to be a female. That's it. That's all she's got. And for many people, that's enough. But it shouldn't be enough. It should not be enough for when you are trying to be hired for the job of being president of the United States. Like, it is an indictment on the American people, honestly, that she is even a contender. That there are people in this country who are overlooking the fact that these illegals are running up in our country. They are running up in your neighborhoods. They are running up. They are killing innocent women, young people. They're taking over buildings in Colorado. They've gone and taken over, terrorizing. Even further terrorizing New York City as if they don't have enough problems. It is a shame that there are actual Americans who are openly supporting this woman. This is a problem. This issue, the border and the trans issue, are the two most disturbing highlights of this interview. So those are the two things that I'm going to really be focused on, because I have something in particular that I'd like to say, especially to the Christians.
Of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem.
This is another bold-faced lie. That bill And she keeps talking about Donald Trump wants to run on a problem instead of a solution. Listen, the bill was going to allow millions. Basically, what the bill did was to allow the people that had come in to give them citizenship. That's why Republicans had a problem with the bill. It's a terrible bill. Why would we want to give these people citizenship? We don't know who these people are. Why would we just let them bum rush our country like that and be like, oh yeah, we're just going to let you partake in the American dream? You ain't put in on this. We don't know you. We have no idea who you are. So no, you don't get to just run up in here and partake of our resources, which is what Kamala and Biden have done over the last 3.5 years. They have totally disregarded the American people, took our tax dollars, taken our money and given it to people who don't belong here. I really don't understand how you people can be supportive of someone like this, but actually I do. Because for the last decade, the left, the Democrats, have spent their time and energy priming you to hate Donald Trump. So much so that you hate Donald Trump more than you love righteousness. And that's what I want to say to the Christians. And you will see as she continues to flap her gums, you will see the wickedness that this woman is capable of. And you have to begin to wonder, how in the world can Christians in particular, or anybody who has a brain at this point, support this woman with the radical, crazy, and flat out evil things that she believes in? I don't understand it. I literally don't understand it. The devil is like, and I'm not saying she's a devil, but the entity that moves her, the entity that influences her is not godly. It is not something, it is not an entity that has any righteousness to it. I mean, show me where. Show me. Like, this woman is for everything wicked. If it ain't wicked, she don't like it. This is ridiculous.
Instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing
Six
it.
Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it.
Bernie
These are the six
Sanders voted
Democrats.
against this bill.
But
This
more
is
importantly,
hilarious.
back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungary, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this
9 months, some of those victims would still be, it would have been too late. And even if she actually really cared, all they would have had to do is just re-implement what Donald Trump had instituted in the first place. Remain in Mexico. You got to stay out of America. We're going to look into your asylum claims from the country from your origin country. If she was so bothered, I'm just so bothered. I care so deeply about the American people, and oh my God, why didn't you do anything before? You could, they were, "Oh, well, the vice president doesn't have any, any ability to do anything." Lies. She could have been held in press conferences. She could have, you could have pushed to just implement the laws that we already have, because our current laws don't allow foreigners to just bum rush America. Why don't, here's an idea, implement the laws that are already on the books. That is exactly why Alejandro Mayorkas was impeached in the first place, because he's not implementing the laws that he's supposed to. So all of this stuff is just foolishness. So we're gonna fast forward just a little bit, because I want to get to this other wicked thing that she loves to just support.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology, is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss, sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions.
Nonsense. I'm glad she apologized. I mean, that's the least she could do. But that ain't enough. That is not enough. And I don't understand anybody who could see the consequences of letting all of these illegals into the country and see these innocent people who are being killed at the hand. These are all preventable deaths, because they would be alive had it not been for these people being here. I don't see how you could support this woman. That is wicked. That is wicked. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry." No, you're not. I mean, it's good for you to say. It's good for you to say it, but your actions don't support that you feel any remorse for what you've done. It's disgusting.
And saying that this is a perfect immigration system, I've been clear, I think we all are. Is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
there were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talked to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, "You've been, quote, a failure with border security." Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
I get it. I totally get it. I understand, okay? Like, I totally understand. Girl. Yeah, no, Kamala, we get you, boo. We get you. We see you. We see you, girl. Here's what I want to say. 14 is estimated 14 million people. I think it's probably more. Just in the last, I think, month or 2 months, they said 700,000 illegals have come in. This is insane. But here's the thing, because they love them some black folks. That's what they say, at least. They just love the black and browns, right? They love us. They just love them some black and brown people until we start moving away from the Democrat Party. And they saw that in 2016. They're like, okay, we got to replace these folks. 14 million people. Now, there are about 43 million black folks in the United States, right? Let's see. Let's just do some little math here. Let's just say 40 million. Let's see. So 14 million is 32% of 43 million. So they have literally let in 32%. We'll say 33 because it's 32.5. It was 33% of black folks that's here. Of the whole entire population, they've let in almost half. And you don't think that they're trying to replace you? And you finna vote for this woman. You're finna vote for this woman for her to let in people who did not put in on your ancestors, their blood, sweat, and tears being in this land. Even if your family doesn't go back, 100, 200, 300 years like my family does, and like many Black Americans do in this land. She is willing to allow all these people to come in and take over your birthright. That's their blood, sweat, and tears. That belongs to you. She don't care. Kamala she's just getting her feet wet in America too. She don't have no real stake in this country. She don't. That woman grew up in Canada. Her family is from, India and Jamaica. She's a first generation immigrant. And she spent the majority of her, yes, she was born here, but she spent the majority of her time in another country, Canada. She has no real stake in this country. So I'm sure it doesn't matter to her if it burns to the ground. To hell with it. She don't care.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said at 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
This is nonsense. Ooh, help me. I'm not gonna cuss. Girl, you're freaking being hired for the job to literally make law. Well, that I will follow the law. You're trying to make law. That's what you're being hired to do. So if the law, that's why the question is so important. If you are president, are you still going to advocate for health care to illegals, free, all the things that you want to give to the illegals, all the things that are the birthright of American citizens? Do you want to give them to illegals? And here's, I'm going to follow the law. Heifer, you create the freaking law. You're going to be able to veto a law or put it into law. That is literally what you're about to, your job will be. Oh my God, I can't with this woman. You have incredible power as president to see that laws get passed or don't. Oh my goodness gracious. Do you even understand the job that you're applying for? I'm going to follow the law. You're going to be creating it. Oh God.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are evolutions that you've...
I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally, and I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
Yes, you take it so seriously, Kamala, that you let in 14 million people. That is just how serious you take the safety and the well-being of the American people. You take it so seriously that you let in 14 million people.
A time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgery.
Oh, this woman. Okay, so let's just start from the beginning. She actually does support prisoners and illegals, the taxpayer dollars funding their surgeries. Because y'all know, this is the party that don't know what a woman is. So if you want to slap on some breasts or chop off a body part, they all with it. Whatever will mutilate the image of God, they want to do it. Whatever. However far they got to go to manipulate and ruin and violate the image of God, oh, they with it. They with it 1,000%. Who gets on national TV and says, I'm going to give taxpayer dollars to fund people to get sex change? This is wicked stuff. This is wickedness. How? And then she has the audacity to say, well, Trump did it too. And because we know we all hate Trump, that, all I got to do is say, well, Trump's somehow a part of it. Let me tell y'all what actually happened, because you can't believe anything that comes out of this woman's mouth. What actually happened was, you guessed it, an Obama-era policy for transgenders and inmates, okay? So the crowning prince, your crowning prince, the one you put right next to Jesus, or somehow, some of y'all actually think he is the Messiah. So your crowning prince, the one who was all for the L, the G's and the B's and the T's, him, he's the one that implemented this policy of giving taxpayer dollars to fund transgender surgeries. That was Obama, which, it's quite fitting with how obsessed and how much attention he pays to the L's, the B's, the G's, and the T's, and the Q's. That's what he do. And in true Marxist fashion, she's following right along with him, because that's how they work. If you don't get down with our plan, if you don't get in line, we will get you in line. Did you see what they did to Joe Biden? If you ain't playing by our rules, you are not allowed to have another opinion. When you're in a cult, you don't get the opportunity to have different opinions. You must be on the same agenda or you're out of there. So this whole idea of like Donald Trump, somehow supported it, the policy was already in place. In fact, his administration tried to repeal this. So the idea that Republicans or Donald Trump or anybody is like, yes, let's just give the taxpayer dollars, let's give it to the prisoners and let them cut off their body parts. Yeah, because we ain't got nothing else better to do with money, with taxpayer money. This is insane. And this furthers my point on what I said earlier. Y'all hate Trump more than you love righteousness. Because these people can do, they can be for abortion up until 9 months and even after, which Tim Walz, her running mate, who she picked, is for, also on board with giving all this stuff to the illegals. Yeah, he put that already in the law. Why do y'all think she picked him? You think she picked him because he's just America's dad, all this bull crap? But you hate Trump more than you love righteousness. These people are absolutely wicked. Yes, we want to put the porn in the schools. Yes, we're going to teach your kids to be racist with through critical race theory. Yes, we're going to use your tax dollars to pay for the trans people to have the surgeries, the illegals to have the surgeries, and all of this stuff. We're going to roll out the red carpet for the illegals while we make your life completely miserable. And you with it. Because it's orange man bad. It's, Trump is just so terrible. They have literally spent a decade priming you, indoctrinating you to believe that Trump is so wicked. that you will accept her policies. You will be willing to vote for this woman who is obviously wicked, who actually is someone that is doing evil, but they primed you to believe to look at the other guy. Don't look at what we doing. Just pay attention to that other thing. Be distracted by him and look at what he's doing. Don't look over here at what we're doing. Blame it on Trump. That's the strategy. Just blame it on Trump because we've made Trump such an evil villain. She talks about how his rhetoric is so this and that. Y'all call the man freaking Hitler. You call him Hitler.
Has happened in this presidency.
It's in
so
black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
a
think
say
Donald
in
Trump would
this.
say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote.
Y'all call the man Hitler while you push for abortion. Hitler killed millions of his own people, and you pushing to kill millions of your own people, but he's Hitler? He's the one that's saying, don't do that. Yeah, that's kind of too far. Y'all don't care. You're just, whatever. As long as Trump is bad, right? That's it. We hate Trump. That's all you got.
The country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen.
Okay, listen. This man said the 80% of people are not happy with where the country is. So what are we turning the page on? Because Trump ain't been in office for 4 years, ma'am. So turn the page to what? What the freak are you talking about? And so she first says, well, Donald Trump has been running. And your point, that was crazy. Then she says, oh, Brett, you come on. You never were what I'm talking about. So in my opinion, this is my theory. So she tried to use a bit of her feminine persuasion, if you will, with this man. Oh, come on, Brett. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. And Brett's like, actually, I don't. What the freak are you talking about, lady? Like, nobody knows what you're talking about, all right? Like, oh, Brett, you know what I'm talking about. Sure, come on. Oh, just be light with me here. Just be light about it. Let's just have a laugh. Why don't we? Let's just sit down and have a spot of tea. Why don't we? While we just laugh at all the chaos and the degradation and decadence that's going on in America. This woman is a joke. This woman is a joke. Okay? This economic plan is a joke. This trans stuff is ridiculous and dangerous for kids, dangerous to America. And the border being wide open, every last one of these people who have had their hands on this thing, they should all be impeached. In fact, if you want to know my opinion, I think it is treasonous to let all these people in because you took an oath to protect this country from enemies foreign and domestic. You're not vetting this people. You don't know who you're letting in the country. So it is a dereliction of your duty and the oath that you took to protect American people. And we're supposed to elevate you to a higher. You want to get a promotion from the failure? Get the freak out of my face. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts about what I think. I will be looking for them in the comment section below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Because I see y'all, most of y'all who be watching, you're not even subscribed. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel and share this out with your friends. I would love to see more people come on to the channel. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing what you think about what I think. See you soon. Bye-bye.